Good afternoon. My name is Julia Scholten. I'm working for AMREF Flying Doctors here in the Netherlands, and I have the privilege to work with my African colleagues of AMREF Health Africa to end female genital mutilation in Kenya and other countries where we are working. This afternoon I would like to talk with you about Tracking the Girls. It's an innovative digital tool we have developed to protect and to keep the girls protected in our work on ending FGM, female genital mutilation. But first I would like to go through a few facts. About 200 million girls and women today are cut in the world. 4.3 million girls a year are can be cut. And in about 30 countries in the world, female genital mutilation is conducted. It's only harm, and it's a violation against females in the world. What has been our journey so far? In 2007, we have co-created together with the Maasai community a community-led alternative rite of passage to keep the girls protected in their community of FGM and child marriage. However, by working with the communities very remote in southern Kenya, we also came to the fact that it was very difficult to start a dialogue on sensitive topics because communities in this area are really facing a lot of challenges in addressing their basic needs. So what we did is that we had integrated our water and sanitation programs together with our sexual reproductive health and anti-FGM programs. In 2019, we have conducted an impact study and to see where do we stand as an organization and in our programs to end FGM. And what we saw, one of the outcomes was that in the implementation areas, the female genital mutilation has been declined with more than 24%. But the big question was how to sustain this impact. And then we came up with that we are going to develop a digital tool to track these girls and to keep on following these girls who have been through this alternative rite of passage. And there we came up with a Tracking the Girls. Tracking the Girls is a biannual monitoring in a digital way and to collect real-time data about girls on their health, well-being and education until they are 24 years old. How are we doing that? We are working with trained school teachers because we need them to trace these girls in the remote areas where we are working. We also work with community health workers who we trained on how to do the questionnaire and to use the digital application in the remote areas. And we trained governmental structures to work with us to act upon cases of violation to these girls or to prevent them from those. And these are some of the questions we are asking these girls in the communities. Just have a look into the digital tool. Here is, for example, a list of all the schools we are working with in Kenya about all these girls in these schools. Here you see the geographical page within the tool we are using. And here you see a list where we collect all the real-time data of the girls in a coded name, because we would like to protect these girls. That's very important. What are the outcomes so far? For now, we have more than 1,600 girls registered in our tool. And by following them up, we have seen that 91 cases have been conducted on FGM, child marriage or teenage pregnancy, or girls have had to leave school. But we are asking more from these girls. For example, how have they been doing? Not only the data are needed, but also the qualitative data. So for example, this girl told us that she is very happy that she got lessons about ending FGM and she feels protected by her family. And now she's also protecting girls in her community. But for example, this girl, who also had her dreams and aspirations, she really felt she had to leave school. She was a school dropout, and that had to do with a lack of school fees, and now she's fearing that she's going to be married off by her parents. So this is very important data. What are our key lessons learned so far? That the teachers are really important. That is also really important to use the real-time data to act upon. Our ambitions are that we would like to learn and to do more research, that we would like to expand our innovation and to scale it, and also that we would like to start comprehensive partnerships and go for financial investments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Julia, for your very important work. Now we're going to our next story of the Netherlands Institute Multi-Party Democracy, Shifting Politics, Unchanging Purpose. Can I have a round of applause for Rutger Groothuis?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Let's see if it comes up. Yes, my name is Rutger Groothuis, and at the Netherlands Institute for Multi-Party Democracy, where I work, we believe that democracy can only thrive when all voices are heard and inclusive dialogue takes place. We operate in the 20 countries where we work in political contexts that can change, sometimes quite rapidly, and we have to adapt to that if we want to stay and make a difference. And in this pitch, I'll take you through the journey that we made in Colombia over the past few years and in how shifting politics but an unchanging purpose helped us to innovate. So at NIMD, we promote peaceful, just and inclusive democracies. And that is why, in 2016, we were thrilled when a major historical opportunity presented itself for a more peaceful future in Colombia. That was the peace agreement between the government of then-President Juan Manuel Santos and the FARC-EP, the rebel movement. And it ended a 60-year-old conflict that had had a devastating impact on the country. We were also thrilled, personally, because NIMD was asked as an official partner to aid the FARC in its transformation to become a functioning political party, and also to help the Colombian Congress translate that peace agreement into laws. We were right in the middle of things. But then, as they tend to do, politics changed. And we ran out of time when a new election put in place a new president, Ivan Duque, who was not supportive of the peace agreement at all. When violence and insecurity did not end in spite of it, and when the FARC, as a political party, did not manage to convince the voters and get support from the people it claimed to represent. So really, that window of opportunity we've been working in had closed. Up until that moment, we'd been very proud to talk about our involvement in the peace agreement, but all of a sudden we couldn't even mention the word peace in a meeting. So what now? We needed to step back, reflect and identify opportunities for change. And through learning in our international network and reflecting, we came to the conclusion that the most significant impact we could have could be achieved at the local level, where the conflict really had been felt most deeply, where mistrust between authorities and citizens was high, and also where local leaderships, civil rights leaders, community leaders, activists, human rights activists were most affected by the violence. It was there that we felt we had most to contribute. But how? Working locally has particular challenges. Is there a venue with running water? How do we get all these local leaders to a dialogue in a remote location? But even more fundamentally, do citizens, are they able to help, and can we help them discuss democracy when really they worry about food and their physical security? We found that the answer is a yes, and we found that answer in our territorial dialogue initiatives. In these initiatives, NIMD brings together local decision makers, politicians, civil society leaders to create solutions to challenges identified by citizens themselves that are low cost, that are big impact, and that are easy to implement. And in that way, we bolster people's faith in the decision-making mechanisms and strengthen the social fabric. And when we successfully implemented this approach to address the problem of soaring violence and homicide rates against young people in the municipality of Jumbo, near Cali, NIMD received recognition from the OECD as an outstanding initiative in 2022. And for us, that was a confirmation of what we already knew from the people we'd been working with, that our dedication to adapt to a changing political circumstance and refocus our approach was really paying off. At the same time, we know from experience that we should never lose the connection with politics at the national level. And we always kept trying. And in 2022, when a new president got elected into office, Gustavo Petro, the new government reaffirmed its dedication to the peace process and invited us back in. Now we are hosting the working group for the National Congress, for the Colombian Congress on peace. We prepare candidates from marginalized or underrepresented groups to participate in and to win elections. And we assist the government in setting up a new national transparency plan. Only this time, from a much broader perspective and with more knowledge on the inclusion of diverse and local perspectives than we did before just from our desks in Bogota. That is the journey that I wanted to share with you. And NIMD keeps on adapting and working both locally and nationally in this changing political environment. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, yeah.
Thank you, Rutger. I'm so impressed by the timekeeping you guys did. You guys are strict. I don't have to do anything. Yeah, this is an exciting part because we're at our third speaker, but the third speaker is here online from Mercy Corps and African Radio Drama Association, Message in the Music, by Ibu Kunsani and David Gatar. Ibu Kunsani is from Africa Radio Drama Association, and David Gatar is from Community Initiatives to Promote Peace. But before that, we will also see a short video from the artist Fresh Amir Jira Jira. Yeah, enjoy. And a round of applause for them too, because they can hear you.
Next. So just some bit of context on how music is used to combat misinformation in Nigeria. With over 90 million active internet users in Nigeria, the impact of social media has been both beneficial and harmful. One of the greatest dangers is the ease with which harmful messages can quickly permeate communities, either to promote peace or ignite conflicts and incite offline violence. To effectively combat the harm caused by misinformation, it was important for us to use the platform to challenge the negatives and advance peaceful rhetoric, as well as build movement for peace. Next. And we used this project called the Community Initiatives to Promote Peace, which is funded by USAID and empowers communities to prevent and respond to violence and violent extremism in 6 states in northern Nigeria. You can see them on the map. And CIPP uses integrated approach to address these conflicts. Media is a very big component of this intervention. Next, and over to my colleague.
Thank you, David. So in 2021, we launched the social media campaign. The campaign aims to address the underlying causes of violent conflicts, such as fake news, disinformation, and hate speech, by leveraging various social media platforms. Our thinking was that if social media was part of the problem, it could also be part of the solution. Next. Recognizing the potential of music as a tool for transformation, we made the deliberate choice to embrace music as a means of connecting with young people through the campaign. To ensure cultural sensitivity, we chose a Northern artist who understood the Northern context. Next. Through Jicha Jicha, which means rumors, Fresh Emir uses storytelling to remind listeners of the dangers associated with spreading unverified stories online. Within just a few weeks of its release, the song had gathered over 100,000 views on YouTube, demonstrating its resonance with a wide-ranging audience. Next. It's noteworthy that young people took ownership of the campaign. We worked with young influencers with a large following, and they generated most of the campaign's messages and content. The campaign's effectiveness was enhanced by the use of a local language spoken in northern Nigeria, which is Hausa. The selection of the artist, Fresh Emir, was also impactful because he's a highly popular and respected young artist in the North, so it made it easier for his peers to embrace the campaign's messages. The storytelling technique of the song also resonated with the audience and made the message even more impactful. So the music next. The music was part of a broader peace campaign. Our campaign gained momentum. We had increased conversations about peace and awareness on the impact of disinformation, both online and offline. More young people are involved in peace-building processes. Next. Supporting initiatives, Cyber Peace Institute, an NGO focused on digital approaches to promoting peace, featured the CIPP campaign outputs in its global library of cyber peace interventions. Greater collaboration like this is essential within the development sector, amplifying each other's messages and harnessing the efforts of partners rather than working in silos. And here's a short interview with the artist. Next.
Saƙon da nake so in cimma a cikin wannan waƙa saƙo ne mai sauƙi. Abin da yasa na kira shi mai sauƙi saboda saƙo ne da zan amfane shi, ka amfane shi, ta amfane shi, mu amfane shi baki ɗaya. Sannan ya canja mutane zuwa ƙaunan juna wanda yana da alaƙa da zaman lafiya ɗin. Sannan ya canja mutane zuwa ga kyautata mu'amala da sauransu. Buƙatar dai shine a zauna lafiya a ƙasa, yanki da duniya baki ɗaya. Wannan shine kusan abin da nake so in cimma a waƙa, wanda yake waƙoƙi don canza zukatan mutane zuwa ga yin wani abu na zaman lafiya, ƙaunan juna da gyara al'umma baki ɗaya.
Pressure mirror. Yes, I. Akume baki magana. Labarin bogi sai mu daina, yada jita mu daina, mu daina cutar da juna, ka tabbatar da labari kafin ka bada labari, hakan shine tsari sai rage cutar da juna. Mi confirming kafin mu dorar, mi confirming. Ba na so in ce kaza da kaza ba, amma akwai abin da na hanga ba ku gani ba. Ku lura da wasu mutane da ke da karfin fada aji a cikin mutane sun yi magana tana rasa kawai da burane saboda suna da mabiya a kowane wurare. Da fejikan su na sada zumunta za su iya aikin alkhairi in su so su kwatanta, maimakon haka sai su ta yarya da mugunta, kuma hakan kan ja rasa dukiya ko zumunta. Ni dinnan na san wani mutumi wanda za mu iya kiransa bujimi, yana da manyan shafukan.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this, and I wish we had longer time to be with you. We have a very tight and dense but very rich schedule, but again, thank you so much. I wish I could listen to the song. I'm going to check it on Spotify. That's my first question, by the way. If I can find it on Spotify, I'll be listening to that on my bike after this program. Rutger, if you could stand up, and Julia, we have time for one question from the audience, and I will also go to my iPad because I promised that the live stream can also participate. I'm gonna gaze into the room as well if there's a question. For all three speakers, by the way. Yes. We have Mr. Gattara, Ms. Sunny also present. Who dares to ask the first question? And the only question. I see this. Is that a question or? Okay, Frey, if you could go. Maybe this is the new sign for remark. I'm not sure.
No, I got unsure when you said only question, so then I back. But this is the question in regards to the female genital cutting project. How did you ensure that the people using the app, that they stayed safe from any family members or community members that might have negative opinion for them using the app? So how did you ensure their safety?
To repeat the question, you're asking about how do we work together with the community that the girls are going to stay safe?
Yeah, so that if they are using their phones and the app, like how do you make sure that they don't get into trouble with their family?
Okay, sorry.
No.
Just to understand
Yeah.
so how, if their data are collected in the application,
Yes.
how do they stay safe?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the whole process is actually heavy talking about an alternative rite of passage ceremony time. But the whole, the period before takes 1 or 2 years to work together with the communities, to have a lot of intergenerational dialogues. And once the whole community says like, okay, we actually say, as a community, we will stop cutting our girls. So not only the cutters, but also the traditional leaders and everyone, also the parents in the community. And then we go for the ceremony. And by that time, all the girls will be registered. But the girls are below 18 years old. So they need to be, that needs to be approved by their parents. That's very important. And that approval of the parents is also included in the digital tool. So we collect all the needed data to have this registered. So that's one of the things we do to keep the privacy and to keep it safe for them. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you so much. This was the time we had for the Q&A. I'm sorry, I have to gatekeep time. That's my unfortunate role. But thank you very much. Can I have a round of applause? And thank you, Miss Sunny and Mr. Gatar. A special thank you that you were with us online.